Hello, everybody. Can you listen to me? Hello. Hello, Bushra. Hello, Yasmina.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hello.
Thank you, Yas. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. So this is the second webinar from Rising Horizons. For those who were not here for the first one, Rising Horizons is a capacity building program launched by Politics4Her, a youth-led organization who seeks to introduce young women and girls in the political arena internationally. And Rising Horizons is a program that we are delivering for some participants, for them to engage in the climate change, gender, and other aspects of those intersections within SWANA Region. So it's really a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to present this webinar and to be with Doha and Boshra, both of them great women with great experience. So Boshra, please, could you introduce yourself? Firstly, I am Ariel. I'm so sorry. I work in Politics4Her, and I'm also one of the organizers of Rising Horizons. So yeah, that's it. Bushra, please, could you present yourself and then pass the floor to Doha? Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Bushra Lakhsais. I am from Morocco. I had the pleasure of being a mentor with the Rising Horizon program, and it has been a very great pleasure being the mentor for a group of dedicated young women in storytelling, advocacy, crafting story crafting policy briefs on topics related to climate change in the SWANA region. Now the girls are writing their policy briefs, which will be soon published at the Politics4Her website. So I invite you to keep an eye on that. And yeah, so I did my PhD in peace studies, and I mostly focused on Amazigh women in North Africa, their empowerment, agency, and also studying their marginalization. So that's it. I pass the floor to Doha to present herself.
Hello, thank you so much, Bushra. Hello, Ariel. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm so thrilled to be with you for the first time and hopefully not the last time. My name is Doha Zamal. I'm Tunisian. I'm a water engineer working for international organization as a consultant, like the Union for the Mediterranean, the European Commission. As I said, I'm an engineer, so I have a pure technical background, but now, as I'm more involved in the policy recommendation and policy elaboration, let's say, I'm more willing now to advocate for the water sector, but from a very political, let's say, more to elaborate more recommendation that could be useful for policymaker to make them to translate, let's say, the technical language into more simpler and more manageable language in order to elaborate their policies and recommendation in a very efficient and effective way.
Thank you very much for the brief presentation from both of you. As you all can see, great women here today. Bushra, we had a pleasure to work for a while right now, and thank you very much for everything. And Doha, it's really a pleasure to work with you for the first time and not the last one, we hope.
I hope that too.
Yes. So today we're here to talk about the intersection between climate change, gender, and just a minute, let me mute. Yes. And the intersection with water scarcity. So Bushra, do you want to go on and begin with your speech, please?
Thank you, Hariel. I would like to highlight that I have recently also joined HERizons. It's a movement founded by Yasmina Ben Sliman and Rania Harara this year, 2024. This movement is a decolonial youth-led movement that challenges the climate crisis by amplifying indigenous perspective. The movement is built on principles of intersectionality, decolonialization, and empowerment, recognizing the unique challenges faced by women in the fight against climate crisis. So by centering the voices and wisdom and leadership of women from the SWANA region, it strives to address climate change with equitable and sustainable solutions rooted in the traditional ecological knowledge. So I invite you all to visit our website and learn more about the work that we do regarding climate change, particularly in the SWANA region. So today I'm here to present some findings from my PhD thesis entitled Amazigh Feminism Narratives, Aspirations, Agency, and Empowerment of Amazigh Women in the Southeast of Morocco. This work has recently been awarded Premio de Investigación y Género at the Universitat Jaume I. So I'm very happy to receive this recognition for this work, and by my work also with climate sirens to amplify the voice of Amazigh women as part of the SWANA region, and also advocate for other countries within the SWANA region. So before I go in depth into water scarcity and gender, I would like to share some background information about who are the Amazigh people in North Africa. So the Amazigh, in plural called Imazighen, also known as Berber, are the indigenous people of North Africa, spanning from the Egypt Siwa oasis through Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and the Sahara Desert into Mali and Niger. Approximately 20 million Amazigh-speaking individuals are concentrated in Morocco, which is 40 to 50% of its population. Algeria has an estimate of 20 to 25% of Amazigh population, with smaller percentages in Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt's Siwa oasis, as well as the nomadic Tuareg population in Mali and Niger. Historically, the Amazigh people faced occupation by various civilizations, including the Phoenicians, the Romans, and the Arab-Muslim conquest in the 7th century, and the French in the 19th and 20th century, shaping the region's current dynamic. Despite being labeled as Berbers, which means barbarians, semi-savages, primitive people who require civilization, by outsiders, today these communities reject this stigmatizing pejorative term Berber, which is imposed on them by outsiders, and they prefer to call themselves Amazigh, in plural Imazighan, which is free, noble people in their language. So regarding the Amazigh women, which is the center of my thesis, after conducting a literature review, I came to the conclusion that in the MENA region, all women are represented as a homogeneous group and looked up from a single perspective of being Arab and Muslim, while their cultural identity goes beyond that. In Morocco, this goes back to post-independence era, where modern states were constructed under Arabization ideology, which envisioned a collective Arab identity that's for a means of national unity and sovereignty. This ideology might seem positive in theory when uniting people. However, many indigenous groups are forgotten and oppressed based on what these Arabization policies exposes them to. Additionally, I found that in the context of this research, Amazigh women and feminism narratives in Morocco, there is a gap existing within the mainstream feminist strands, the Islamist, and secular feminism, both in advocacy and academic literature, which mainly are Arabic urban elite-based, focusing mainly on aspects of women's rights on the national level. These aspects are very important, yet they neglect to address the Amazigh rural women's needs and rights and agency. So the gap identified here is the failure of the mainstream feminism to address and represent Amazigh women grassroots levels, needs and priorities, causing a big absence of the Amazigh women representations within these discourses. So whenever the Amazigh women are mentioned within these hegemonic feminist discourses, they are referred to as rural women, illiterate, in need of aid, passive beneficiaries of aid. These traits, reinforced by the media, generate a stereotypical image of which diminish their identity as Amazigh women and hide their specificity and their challenges. So the topic of Amazigh women's strength and resilience for social change as a topic suffers from an epistemological invisibility in literature, as this existing literature are focused on investigation of their marginalization. So the relevance of this work is that within the international relations, females are generally portrayed as victims, an image which fails to acknowledge the diversity of women's agency and their contribution and maintains the stereotypical gender roles. So when women are victimized to the point that the condition becoming a victim is an integral part of their identity, it becomes difficult to free them from such a perspective, as their own belief about these conditions causes them to sustain such an imposed self-image. Two mechanisms cause the women to remain victims during this process of reunifications. The first is that by considering them as objects to be protected, they are framed as weak rather than subjects of rights. Secondly, the act of framing them as victims risks constructing a reductionist and biased limited image of otherness. Through such externalized representations of victims, the particularities of these women is continued to be portrayed as passive objects rather than active agents. In recent times, attempts has been made to transform this predominant image of the women around gender peace violence, which also have many forms and shares common roots, which is the recognition of women's contribution and framing them as active participants within society. Therefore, I'm very proud to join the Climate Sirens, because this movement embodies these principles that I personally believed in. Amazigh women are at the heart of the water in North Africa. Among the themes of my PhD is the water. and water scarcity. The lack of water leads Amazigh people to immigrate toward places where there is a better, more stable, accessible to water. This is not only nomads, which are found in Morocco and across Africa, who transhumans for water and greeneries for their cattle. It's also for sedentary people who lived and settled in villages and towns. Due to the climate change in the last decades, water becomes a big issue in the southeast. The quality of tap water, if available at all, can vary a lot in many towns. It is unfiltered water, colored red or brown from the sands and the dirt. Additionally, if not having adequate clean water, the electricity net in the rural areas is very unstable. It is dropped, often causing fresh foods and drinks that are stored in fridge or freezers to go bad. Due to the extreme high temperature, this process is amplified, especially in summer months. Besides hygiene issues that are put extra burden on the financials of the family in the region, these issues affecting Southeast are not new. These issues of climate are not new. Locals have been protesting and demanding better quality of life for a long time. Also joining the 2011 Arab Spring movement, people and associations around the region organized peaceful local protest to raise awareness about the issues and request help in combating these problems in some villages where they were suffering complete lack of water. So in the absence of water, women are the ones to walk for miles to fetch the water, providing for the family with water responsibility in the shoulders being for them. So this causes women to be at the heart and the demands of the water. As the woman is expected to take care of the household, and among other things, she needs to clean, prepare the shower, wash the dishes, the clothes, cook, and have water for the lavatory. All these tasks require water, and thus she needs to travel often to fetch a large amount of water. So she might need to walk kilometers and carry heavy loads of water several times a day. Due to the extreme dry climate, she often finds a source of water run dry, and she needs to use her indigenous knowledge and her senses to find a good, clean water in the area. She might then disappear for 2 to 3 hours. Just imagine in your day, 2 to 3 hours just going searching for water. Before she finds any, if in the process she takes large part of her day, which causes her stress. Also, an option to return home is not available because she needs to bring water. If the woman fails to provide the water, she cannot clean her children, herself, and the people might observe this and blame her that she is not providing the water for the family. So all these challenges are recurring each day as the fine sand in the region perpetuate drought causes people and everything to constantly be being covered in dust and requires clean water. So water is essential. In the Quran, it says that we created from water everything living a thing. So if there is no water, there is no life. So I would like you to take 2 minutes to think and imagine your life, your daily life without water. So I will give you time and pause to think about life without water. And I invite you to share your comments I invite you to share in the comments.
Bushra, meanwhile, everybody's thinking about your question. I would like to address one thing. You said that Indigenous women, they deal with they are the most affected by water scarcity, and I really wanted to ask you how their knowledge, because there is knowledge within indigenous people that we don't reach out because academia or our colonial societies doesn't give us the opportunity to access it. So how do they deal with these droughts with their indigenous knowledge? Do they have any tools of their own to deal with it? How does that work?
Yeah, so previously in the among the nomads that I know, they transhumans. So through the whole year, there are cycles where they stay in one place and others where they go to a different place for water, basically. So the issue is very deep because of the climate change. Before there was water, they can reach water at every level when they dig the wells, but now it has becoming very difficult to reach the water, especially after the earthquake that it moved. The earth's moved and they cannot find water within, like if they dig, they have to dig even much bigger. So yeah, that is
Oh, okay, thank you. We have some answers in the chat.
okay. Minutes without water. Thank you, everyone, for sharing and taking the time to reflect on this question. So, as I said, this issue of the water scarcity is attempted to be fixed after 2011 protests by digging wells. However, the issue is complex than digging wells, unfortunately, because what happens is, for example, today there is an issue of water in village X. And is fixed by digging a well for them and building water towers so that the cycle goes. The water becomes available and people are happy, they fetch the water and they drink from it. So after 5 years or 4 years, it runs dry. And after this, the location has dried, then they need to and invested the investment on the infrastructure to build this, to dig the well and to build the tower, it becomes useless. So the village is desperately searching for water. They find eventually another spot to dig again the well, and then they find water. And after 5 years, it runs dry again. So the process causes a lot of different and very deep holes appears over time around the villages. As people don't close these holes, it's becoming dangerous and leads to dangerous situation where children can sometimes fall into these wells. In the beginning of 2022, there was a high-profile case of the child called Ryan, who fell in a well of 32 meters down deep well, and the emergency services, unfortunately, were not able to save him because the well was so deep. And he ended up being trapped there. And after 4 days of being there, he unfortunately passed away with lots of injuries. So another cause for water scarcity in the region is, I think it's it's on the news mostly lately, is the production of avocados. These fruits are not native to the region, and they take a lot of water. Also, due to the nature of the watermelons farming, it's mostly done in the south of Morocco, in the Zagora region. This leads to a drastic impact on the life of the citizens, especially in Zagora, as I said. So the neighboring villages also suffers from this because the watermelon during its life cycle absorbs a lot of water in the ground, and therefore the wells remain empty. So if the watermelon absorbs all the water, then the wells becomes empty. So all these issues caused by drought and climate change cause Morocco to become very aware of climate change in a direct and serious risk to the livelihood of the people in the country. And since it has put effort in raising awareness around the topic by hosting the COP22 in 2016, in conclusion, as we reflect on the year since the devastating earthquake in Marrakesh and the Atlas Mountains, the urgency to address this critical issue of water scarcity and climate change becomes undeniable. This tragedy has underscored the vulnerability of women and girls who are burdened by the impact of this environmental crisis. So, however, I want to finish on a positive note that, however, these challenges also present a call for action for all of us to advocate for and implement solutions that prioritize the needs and the wisdom of those most affected. It is imperative that we continue to amplify the voices of women, particularly Indigenous women, Amazigh women, whose resilience and traditional knowledge is crucial in crafting sustainable, equitable responses to climate change. Therefore, when I came across the climate science movement, I felt hopeful that these platforms is significantly contributes to addressing these issues that face epistemological invisibility. Thank you so much for your attention. And now I give the floor to my colleague Duha to provide more insight into this topic.
Doha, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna quit you for a minute because Bushra, you received 2 questions. Can you answer right now?
Is it okay if we answer in the end?
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's fine. So you can go, Doha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bushra, for your insights. I'm not sure if I'm going to add more to what you have already mentioned. Very well said and very well put. However, I would like to touch upon a subject that I was proudly a part of with regards to gender in water sector as a whole. I was part of a project led by the European Commission. I was the co-author and the translator of a book called The Gateway to the Future of the Mediterranean. This publication is an explorative and innovative disclosure of scientific knowledge, but at the same time used art to shed the light on the gender equality in the water sector. We used a concept, a very new concept, out of the box concept, to make sure that the gender equality is seen, should be seen differently. And this concept seeks to address the everlasting invisibility and anachronistic discrimination of women since the ancient Mediterranean times, because in the Mediterranean, men traditionally benefit from a historical link between land ownership and community leadership, while women have always been discriminated against and affected negatively by decisions related to water, energy, or food. And such gender dynamics are influenced by cultural and socioeconomic realities, and women who have challenged traditional thinking have been demonized, not only as victims, as Bushra mentioned earlier, but even worse, they were demonized and depicted as an evil force defying the patriarchal society. So this concept that I will mention its name later on acknowledges the importance of understanding one's past to shape one's future, and for that it sought to reinterpret the methodology called female characters. The idea is to permit an open discussion aiming at inducing a behavioral change capable of leading to a social acceptance of integrating women in the water sector, in the energy sector, in the food sector, because all these sectors are connected, are inextricably intertwined. So this concept is called the Medusa Nexus. And it took its name from Medusa, which is a Greek mythological female character. It aims to address the dynamics through emotional stimuli and engagement. And the motto of this concept is called the naming without blaming, which is key to the generation of the empathy required to induce behavioral change. So the idea was to provide 8 paintings by a colleague of mine who is a scientific female, alongside female characters from Mediterranean, with how to say portraits of 8 modern Mediterranean women that were taken by another female photographer. So the combination of the past and the future would induce us to ask ourselves if the women of the present would have still to endure, metaphorically, of course, what the mythological female have witnessed, because they were not empowered and were not given the opportunity, and were not heard enough. So answering this question would help us unlock the unused potential of the women of the future, because understanding the past and understanding the core problem will help us shape the future, will help us find the adequate solutions, which is the main basic of this concept, the Medusa Nexus concept of the publication, which is called, again, if for those who didn't listen well, The Gateway to the Future of the Mediterranean Water, Energy, Food, and Ecosystem. Another point regard what Bushra mentioned regarding the overexploitation of the water, of the groundwater, and how this can lead to the water scarcity. Indeed, it's the overexploitation of the groundwater is one of the major leading to the severe water scarcity, especially in the Mediterranean region. And because, unfortunately, the workforce, the female workforce, are higher or is higher than the men workforce. So in the agriculture field, so women are the most vulnerable and most affected categories or communities in this field. And the other time I was like preparing some work, and I stumbled upon a very interesting publication by FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, that was recently released a couple of months ago, called The Unjust Climate. I took some notes here. So what is really, I found it really flabbergasting. The findings of this book state that the long-term increases in temperature affect the farm and total incomes of female-headed households more than those of male-headed households. Why? Because when floods and droughts occur, the increase in labor time associated with the relative increase in the share of labor dedicated to activities on the household farm is higher. Meanwhile, exposure to heat stress is associated with a relative reduction in the share of labor hours spent on the household farm, implying a shift towards working on other people's farm or engaging in non-farm work. Saying that, there is another finding which is very interesting and mind-blowing, because even though the climate change is negatively impacting the income of women, however, and surprisingly, the long-term exposure to temperature rises affects plots managed by men and women in the same manner, notwithstanding difference in adaptive strategies. So I don't know if I made this clear, but even though women are faced by more challenges when it comes to climate change, when it comes to the rise of temperature, they still have the same, let's say, productivity as men, and this due to their the good use of the techniques, of the soil and water techniques that they are providing, and their resilience, let's say, to in order to face the climate change impacts. So what can be said here? So even though women are not giving the same opportunities of men because they have less time in order to manage more work and still have the same results as men. So what if they were given the same opportunities, the same tools, the same amount of livestock and so on? How could be the results? So this is my question to the audience, to the participants to think about this. How about giving women the same opportunities? How the results will be? And I stop here.
Thank you very much, Doha. Amazing speech. Very well put. We have some questions, so I'm going to pose them to both of you. Which one feels more comfortable answering, you can go on. So the first one was from Amjad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. From Every Woman Treaty. She said, do they also encounter forms of violence in their daily search for water? Women, of course. Bushra, you are muted.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you for your question. The answer is yes, that women face hard conditions in the daily life searching for water. As I said before, sometimes she comes to the water source and it's dry, so she needs to go further away to get the water. And one of the cases that I had that the woman told me when I was doing my field work, which is actually not more that they would go, sometimes they been stinged by a scorpion or snakes. So with the lacks of hospitals in the region or the hospital being far away, these are deadly stings. And it's so many cases in the region that people die from this attacks. Also, this is a topic of encountering violence is also linked to education. So in the region, girls are not, in many villages, are not allowed to go to school because the school is so far away, so they have to walk. And the parents, out of fear that the girls might be raped on the way to the school or on the way to somewhere walking by herself as a woman, as a girl, they are scared, so they are overprotective. So this one of the reasons the girls' education is not, the parents are scared for the girls, and ultimately there is a high rate of girls drop out of school in rural areas. Yes, Duha, want to add something?
No, sorry, Bushra. I just rose my hand just to answer if I can answer a question just right after you finish.
Okay. Yeah, so that's because also I've been one of the teams is educations of girls. So this is one of the obstacles that the violence that they may face if they on the way, and the climates, for example, when it's raining and they have to walk, and then there is flooding coming sometimes, they cannot go to the school. So yeah, that happens. Those cases happen.
Bushra, do we have do you know of any data of any country of SWANA region that mentions gender-based violence because of this woman who needs to go search for water?
No, this is the data that I had is primarily from my field work. I did work in the southeast, and I have interviewed women from different villages and documented their life. So this topic, unfortunately, is well, it's still new. So when I did my PhD last year, it was the how to say I don't know what was the word for this, but I was the last one to do the research up as of July 2023, because this region is marginalized first by the state. It is considered unuseful region because of the drought. It does not have opportunities. It's understudied. That's why I purposefully choose to study this region to fill the gap within the literature and provide data about this. The data that was outdated until last year when I published my PhD.
Okay. Doha, you can go on, please.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Bushra. I just saw like a very interesting question that I felt tempted to answer it. It's from Zahra Malik, saying, how do existing policies fail to address the gendered impacts of climate change and water scarcity? I think here the answer is simple and easy, yet very complex. The problem is there is no communication between policy and science. We have a tremendous amount of data telling us, showing us that we are in danger when it comes to climate change, when it comes to climate change impact, the severe impacts of climate change, and how our lives are dependent on that. However, policymakers are not familiar, let's say, with numbers. They're not. If you tell a policymaker that, for instance, we need to reduce the global warming under 2 degrees to 1.5 degrees Celsius, he would never understand this. So the point here is how to make this language easier, simpler, and more manageable in a way that he can understand that we are really in a dire situation and we need to react. In this regard, actually, the European Commission and some international organizations are working on what we call the science policy interface, which is this approach is how to make policymakers and scientists working on the same field with more interaction, with more communication, in order to inform, in order that the scientists inform the policymaker about the data provided, and vice versa, actually, to even that the policymaker provide them the background, the ground, and the funds, because research and investigation need funds, need money. So the idea is to create this harmonious atmosphere for both policymakers and scientists to work together. One of the missing point also is that the idea, the concept of the climate change, water scarcity, is overlooked in the political discourse. So it is crucial that climate change, gender equality, and water scarcity should be integrated in the political discourse, because this will give whole concept a more powerful impact, because we know as policymakers are the highest stakeholder in any country. They have power, so it is important for them to use their power to inform, to be informed and inform about the importance of the climate change and its impact, and hence we can make sure that our policy are tailored in a way that can be effective and efficient to address the climate change impacts and water scarcity crisis.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Doha. Rabah also asked how this whole situation, how the women are dealing with their education. Bushra said already something about it, but do you have any more insights on this? Because of course, if you need to take care of the household, especially girls, maybe then they are the ones who drop off school to be on the household with the mother and everything else. So if you want to say any more things about this, would be great. You are muted.
Yes, it's a cycle of intersectional causes and effects. As I said before, yes, in the rural areas more than the urban areas, the girls are more at risks of dropping out. Yes, because they are the one who need to go to bring the water, and also in terms of education, they drop out very early because of the reasons I previously mentioned. Also, when they are staying at home, have this pressure that their parents, they wanted to marry them off early, so they become then victims of they become child brides, that they marry early. And although in the constitution of Morocco, the legal age of marriage is 18 years old, however, the judge have the authority to allow marriages with if the parents agree. And this created a huge discussion currently in Morocco regarding this child marriage and the changes of the Mudwana law, which is the family law that in Morocco we are calling that to remove this power of the judge to marry the girls under age because they cannot make the decisions for themselves. And yeah, how the Mudwana will be banned, child marriage complete. So as yeah, I hope, yeah, me too. I hope because now they are under the Mudwana currently is under study, and soon after the ulama reviewed the Mudwana, I think then it will pass through vote, and hopefully it will they take this into consideration. Yes, I would like to write the article. It's I'm very happy with the Politics4Her and climate science. It provides the opportunity and platform to address these issues and raise awareness about these topics.
Oh, and Raba also asked for recommendations from both of you for initiatives that she can join or she can contribute with to concerning gender inequality and water scarcity.
Well, I can answer this question. Well, for recommendation, I think it is crucial to assess the situation when it comes to gender equality and intersection with the water scarcity and climate change. Why? Because once we can know what are the gaps, what is missing, we can exactly find the adequate solution, and we can have like effective and tangible impacts. And once we assess the situation, and once we find out the gaps, we can start looking for establishing a series of trainings, capacity building, capacity development, because knowledge is crucial, is key for positive change. To start to empower it's key to empower women, because when women are empowered, when they have the knowledge, they will know exactly what they are supposed to do. Because what is lacking here, it's a lack of knowledge. We cannot, when we talk about gender equality, we cannot compare a man who has all the tools, all the opportunities, to a woman who spent all her time bringing and fetching water to the house. This is unfair. So once she will be given the same opportunities, she can make the change. And for the initiative, yes, actually, the GWP Med with the Geneva Hub are undertaking an initiative called empowering women in water diplomacy, or women, female water experts in water diplomacy. And this initiative has this objective: is how to empower women through capacity building, through capacity development, in order to give them the skills, the adequate skills to undertake the different jobs related to water, related to water diplomacy. Because why this initiative started? Because they have assessed that there is a mismatch between the different skills needed by women to be given equal opportunities. So I don't know, maybe I can, if you want, I can share with you the link for this initiative to have more insight and more information about it.
Thank you, Doha. Could you please share the link in the chat so everybody can have
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll send right away. Okay.
Thank you very much. And we also have another question from Amina. And she is asking, given the women and girls are disproportionately affected by water scarcity, do you know of any specific gender-sensitive policies or programs have shown promise in ensuring equitable access to water resources? I mean, both of you can answer this.
For me, I honestly don't know particularly any other, like, how to say, the most programs that I know are local based in the region, that the people and associations, as I said, since 2011 have been vocal on this topic of water and in the region. But yeah, that's what I know of. And there is a federation of associations to unite all the associations in the region to have one voice when they are communicating with the government or with the policy making. They create a federation of association. But I think Duha will have more insight on this one.
I'm sorry, I was distracted looking for the link. Could you please repeat the question, because I think I'm not following.
Oh no,
Could you please repeat what's the?
Yeah, for sure. Amina asked, given the women and girls are disproportionately affected by water scarcity, do you know any specific gender-sensitive policies or programs that have shown promise in ensuring equitable access to water resources?
Okay, well, from my perspective, from what I have been working so far, unfortunately, the gender equality aspects is overlooked in the even though I'm a water expert, but this aspect is overlooked. And actually I'm in the middle of making a mapping of all this initiative. So I think I'll be addressing this question to the participant to help me as much as they can to provide me with this initiative, because as I said, I have noticed that the gender mainstreaming is not specified in our area of work, and it's this is something that it's a pity, unfortunately, but we are willing to give it more significance, because as we know, the SDGs cannot be fully achieved without an inclusive participation of both genders.
Thank you very much, Doha. Amina, just to add to what the girls said here, in Rising Horizons training, during the training, the mentorship sessions, I could notice, even though I'm not from the SWANA region, I'm from Latin America, I noticed that water scarcity and gender sensitive policies are very, very like rare. Even they don't exist. It's not a subject that comes to the policy makers or whatsoever. So I think that's why Rising Horizons is very important in certain ways, because we are working with those girls in the SWANA region, so they can be policymakers, so they can work with advocacy for water scarcity and other subjects that are really overlooked, as Doha brilliantly said. And thank you. Yes, Amina, hopefully it will change. So we are reaching out to the end of this webinar, and I really wanted to thank all of you to be here, to take some time to listen to us. I want to thank Bushra and Doha to be here. It was amazing to have you. If you want to add anything, please go ahead.
Thank you everyone for being here today. This topic is very important, and I want to thank Politics4Her and Ariel for providing the platform for us to start the conversation, to start the topic, and to raise awareness about it digitally. And also, I want to invite you again to join us in the Climate Sirens, which is a platform dedicated completely for climate, and it is decolonial and led by women from the region. It's a very good initiative to look at as a platform that has recently built and needs a lot of your support to share and engage with us what we write and share it to reach a broader audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bushra. Well, from my side, I'm not going to add a lot. I just shared now the link to the publication that I just mentioned earlier, and I highly encourage you to take a look at it because it's really important and it's very innovative what we have made. This concept, the Medusa and Nexus concept, we targeted the problem in a very artistic way that really make anyone questioning himself or herself how could be this done if we merge the past and the present in a very artistic way. So I would be glad if you take a look at it, look at it, and share your feedback on that. Other than this, it was such a pleasure to be with you today and to share this insightful remarks on this overlooked topic that we hope that it won't be overlooked anymore. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. You're brilliant. I want to say that I admire both of you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. And for our audience, please check out the Climate Sirens website, check out Politics4Her website. And I have also put it the LinkedIn profiles of our speakers for you to go there and see their work and to know more. And I hope to see you all in the next webinar that will be next week. Stay tuned on Politics4Her social media, so you'll be having access to the registration link. And the main topic will be climate change, gender and misplacement. So displacements, actually, sorry. So I hope to see you all there, and thank you very much for being here today. Bye-bye.
Bye.